So we're going to start off this forum and hearing. I want to thank our guests for being here today and our subject matter experts. I also want to thank Representative Bob Good for being in attendance. The purpose of this hearing is to ensure that we have the ability to ask the questions that are necessary to get transparency on the attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump in Butler, PA on July 13th. In this hearing, we will identify a lot of the actual failures, but I will be first to tell you that given the fact of the untimeliness and which point this has been conducted, you will see at this stage where I think that criminal gross negligence and purposeful intent will be indistinguishable. There was a lot of things that we can point to as critical failures. As the United States Congressman for Florida's 7th District, I had conducted at least 1,000 of these advances in my lifetime with regards to the State Department and others. And I can tell you, having worked on a counter-sniper team, having worked on an advance team, that there are critical failures that need to be identified so that the American people can understand the transparency of it, but also to raise the questions and awarenesses of why. That is the intent of this entire hearing, is to get to the why, get to those who are responsible, bearing in mind responsibility and accountability are two very different things. This is not an I'm sorry, I'll resign, I'm finished. This is a get accountability to pursue either purposeful intent or criminal gross negligence. The questions that we have to ask is, why was a venue such as the one selected not having the adequate security? Why was the higher vantage points not covered? Why was there not a either comparable or compatible communication system or a joint operations center established? Where was the security plan, the comms plan, the data range cards? Where was the actual overwatch? Where was the ground teams as far as their rates of instruction? And what was the tactical techniques and procedures that were to be utilized that would identify and mitigate all the existing threats? I think that this is just the start as we continue to unpeel the layers and layers of why was there not an early morning briefing with all to ensure communications and last-minute security plans? Why was the surveillance drone not utilized, even though it was offered? And who ultimately is responsible and will be held accountable for one of the truly most life-changing incidents for a lot of us, where we almost lost the former president of the United States? I think that it's easy to see why an independent investigation is needed. I think that we understand that if this was to have been conducted correctly, then July 14th, we would have had immediate subpoena to get the security plans, comms plans, the motorcade operational plan, the actual counter-snipers range fan data cards, and started questioning the individuals independently to do corroborations of fact-fiction boards to see what's going on. But we hope that with the continual failures within the federal government and the lack of transparency that's been provided to date, that this will help to be a benchmark of where we can move going forward to try and rebuild the confidence in your elected officials. That we will not hide behind low-level classifications, and that we will guarantee the transparency and accountability that the American people deserve. This panel that we have put together is also to acknowledge those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Today is August 26th, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge our 13 fallen heroes in Afghanistan of August 26, 2021, and the sacrifice that's been made on behalf of a grateful nation. It's time for us to reflect on what the cost is of these freedoms, and I also want to acknowledge the service and the murder of Cory Mills, and let his family know that we are here, we are listening, and that we will get accountability. I want to thank our members that are here as well, and I want to just end with this. While this is the first hearing of its kind to come together, it won't be the last. And that this is a message to all of Congress, that if we are not selecting people based on meritocracy, that independent investigations such as this will continue to move forward, that there are members and conservatives who will not be silenced, and that we will continue to strive for accountability in government as well as for transparency for America.